Romain Wolff, welcome to our today's session of CESI Insides. We haven't seen each other, I think, for 6 months.
Yes, you can say so. It's for some 6 months. We have seen each other sometimes, yes, in the meanwhile, but it's a long time ago. And when I remember when everything started, also when we have been in Switzerland, could not imagine that.
Yeah, unbelievable what has happened in these 6 months. And you came here to our new offices. What's your impression? I mean, you recognize me, right?
Yes, it's you. It's you. That's for sure. And you recognized me when I came into the office. I think it's a very bright office. It's also a very interesting place. I like it.
And as we said, 6 months we haven't seen each other. When you look at your emails you've received or you've sent, and you have the feeling like this is from a life, from another life. What has happened now, according to what was the horrible things? Which ones were things maybe which were also positive side effects of this terrible, let's say, catastrophe on the one hand, but also of course of following the confinement or the lockdown measures?
Well, first of all, I would like to say I've seen you a lot of times, but not here physically, but Zoom and Teams, and I know what other programs that we use. So I saw you, I saw the whole secretariat very often at home working, and I think that was one of the positive aspects. Also, I've seen it in Luxembourg that a lot of people since the beginning of the crisis, they had to stay at home, they worked at home, and there are some parts also in the administration where it has been said before, it's not possible, but now it's possible, and I think it will also continue in future, but it should not be only this working at home, it should be a mix.
I believe also we cannot totally give up these physical meetings, but from my side at least, I'm very sure I will not travel. I will not continue to travel as much as I used to travel. When I think I traveled once, twice a week to different events to see different people, which is always, on the one hand, as you said, you cannot totally give this up. Personal contact remains extremely important, but I think one will have to question also every time you think of traveling, is it worth it? And can that not be done via, for instance, a video conference? Klaus, you're representing particularly public sector workers, and now in the crisis we have, of course, experienced that certain sectors are, I mean, everyone and every profession is somewhat essential, but of course in the crisis we noticed that some professions, some sectors are more essential for society to function. And as I had many discussions also with all our different representatives from the trade unions, especially from Southern Europe, where the crisis were particularly strong or particularly strongly felt. How was it for you? How was it for your members? How was it for the sector you represent? How was it for your trade union?
Perhaps it's a little difference to us as to the southern countries, the southern members of our trade union, that we are not so much representing people coming from the health sector. We have some, but it's not a majority on the one hand. On the other hand, I have to say that yes, civil service has been very important also during the crisis. They went on working. It's not only the state, but it's also commune, the municipalities that did a great job, and it was possible with them, together with all the people working in the private sector, to overcome this crisis, even knowing that the crisis, sanitary crisis, is not yet past. There are some signs that it could go again in another direction, but we'll see.
I was mentioning all these discussions I had with our members, all these video conferences, all these CESI Insides interview, and I actually made our members or people from outside, I say, by asking them how important are trade unions, I made them say actually that in this, particularly in times of crisis, trade unions are fundamentally important. I didn't want to say it myself because I thought it's somehow it is more important when other people realize that too. Did you, as president of Luxembourg trade union, as president of CESI, also experience that in this crisis?
I agree because I think that trade unions in all parts, private and also public, they are very important, and I think they will get more and more important now after the crisis, because a new crisis is there, an economic crisis, and what we don't want at all is a social crisis following all this. That we don't want that, and that's very important to have trade unions that are doing their job in favor of their members. I think this job has to be done very quickly now and very efficiently in the interest of the members.
And I mean, for us, CESI, we're having the Congress this year. After long deliberations, we took the decision to organize this Congress. What does it mean for us? What shall be, according to you, the priorities? Of course, I mean, we're very active now in these, as you said, 3, 4, 5 months. At the same time, we were trying to find our way back into normal activities, in normal life. But of course, we will have to readjust certain activities, refocus on others. What, according to you, should be the focus of our activities here at CESI?
I think in general, not only for CESI, but in general for trade unions, will be very important to keep people in work, not losing their work. I think that's one of the most important parts, and also knowing that afterwards the crisis has to be paid. It has to be paid. We know all that, and how is the crisis paid for? Normally by normal taxpayers, and that's why I would also say here at this place that we need more tax justice just now at this moment, because I think there's a lot that has to be done.
And in terms of taxes, I mean, we expect, of course, when we look at all these different recovery packages, a tremendous public debt which will be increasing, and sooner or later, of course, we can expect, or we're afraid of we are fearing that many of the governments will come back to austerity measures, and the first moment that you cut down expenditures is in the public sector. What would you say there is a public sector workforce representatives? Because we established that in the crisis the workforce was particularly essential, and after the crisis now many forces, let's say many interest groups or the society as a whole, may come and say they have to deliver their part. Which is also for us, for CESI, it will be very difficult, but I think important subject to deal with that, to say how shall we position ourselves in such case?
I have to say at the moment where I come from Luxembourg, it's not the question yet to say that public service has to pay for the depth of this crisis. Austerity measures, they are not in the focus also of our government, but we know very well that there are debts also, and that the government has done a lot, given a lot of money to preserve, for example, employability of people, and we are very well knowing that afterwards there will be someone has to pay for that. So, and actually it's not yet the moment to speak about it, but I'm very sure that that will happen later.
So also for us it means a lot on our plate, a lot to do for the coming months and years. And what would be your final message then to our community?
I would say that trade unions, they are very important now and also in the next months and also years, not only on the national level but also on the international level, and I think that here CESI will do a good work.
Thank you very much, Romain Wolff. I would like to add a big thank you to our members also, who were very supportive during this crisis. And now I think all of us, you, me, The stuff, it was a tough time, tough times, but also we deserve, I think, a certain break now. And I'm really happy that basically we have had you today here for the beginning of the summer time, and wish you all the best to you and to your training.
Merci.